Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 6 of the Delta.app One Hub Racing season here for the action in P2. My name's, of course, Michael Evans, going to be taking you through the action, and joining alongside me in the commentary box, it is no longer Ivan. He's had to drop out for the rest of the season, but for the rest of the season, I do have a legend in Max joining me. How's it going, Max?
Hello everyone, I'm back, guys. I hope you missed me. Yeah, I'm excited. The track is a really good one, as we experienced ourselves. So yeah, I'm hyped.
Yeah, of course, we have just experienced this in P3 and P4 over the course of this afternoon, and from what we have seen so far, strategy is king around here, especially when the rain is getting close to the end of the race. But before we have a look at the weather conditions, let's have a look at the championship going into tonight. I did say I'd get it sorted for this time around, guys, and I have managed to do so. So we got Jacob leading the way on 91 points, who is a full 32 points ahead of Kinney, last week's race winner, who is currently in P2 on 59 points. 53 points for Salu in third. And then we got a bit of a gap back to Luki in fourth on 39. 38 points apiece for both Larkin and Mokwi. Lawrence on 30 points. Adam there on I believe that's Kermit actually, Adam. But he's on 27 points. And of course we got Papa Squanch on 22. 20 points for Mr. Zontal. Rich on 18. Alfredo on 17. 15 points for Alexa. Cam K Mum on 12. Jonas on 10. 8 points for Chris, and then of course we got 6 points there for Seiko. Of course, Waitsy dropped down to P3 and had a fantastic debut in P3 as well. He did, and obviously Rowe and Nicholas both in the negative at the moment, on -2 and -3 points respectively. And of course we got Josh making the jump up, and I believe this is his first race here in P2 after his fantastic victory in P3 at Silverstone, where he was massively overpaced for the field in that one. But he's up here now with the big boys in P2.
Yeah. If you while you did tell our viewers how the championship stands, I took a look at how the guys on track perform. There are two types of tires they have chosen, wets and the inters. I think, in my opinion, the inters is a brave decision, because I think it's a little bit too wet in the beginning of the session. But yeah.
Yeah,
what do I know?
I mean, what's good? It's good to just get your confidence up on the inters. It doesn't take long for the track to go from full wets to inters. We will transfer you over to the qualifying action in just moments. We quickly run you through the constructors standings. Of course, Alpine lead the way, 108 points, 91 points for the Scuderia Ferraris in second. And then, of course, we got Williams on 79 points in third, McLaren in fourth on 65. 44 points for the Mercedes. The Racing Bulls in sixth on 40 points. 34 points for the Red Bull Racing Team. And then, of course, Aston Martin in eighth on 21 points. 15 points for the Saubers and 6 points for the Hasses. And of course, I think without further ado, we should head out to the action on track as qualifying is underway. And let's see what these guys are going to be doing in terms of lap times, as I quickly transfer us over. And we got the first lap times coming in, a couple of the wet times, and a first Inders runner in Josh, splitting the two wet runners.
These are looking good. They're looking fast, even on the wets. And now the times will drop, of course, throughout the track drying. But yeah, that's interesting. How everybody chose some different tires. I would have thought they all go with the inters. So
well, I suppose for those on the wet tires, it's because how heavy it is at the start, and maybe they didn't go into the engineers and change their tires, realizing that it was going to be a little bit drier, a little bit quicker. But of course, these guys out there right now, getting laps on the board is what is necessary, because I mean, the track is only going to get quicker and quicker. You're going to build the confidence, and of course, as the qualifying session goes on, the dry line is going to begin to form, which will not only make the intermediate tyres much quicker, it's also going to allow the dry tyres to take place possibly towards the end of the session. But it has been close so far, borderline in both P4 and P3, so it is not guaranteed to go to those dry compound tyres.
It'll be really, really tricky to hit the sweet spot in the last seconds, to be honest. You really gotta be really, really, really late here to get some dry action. Yeah, so I can understand now the strategy is getting some warming up with the track, getting some yeah, on the wet tires, getting some warm up, and then going with the inters. It's also always good to have a banker lap to be safe, because you don't know if you know, it's so narrow at the end of time, and you don't know if you can really achieve one lap on the dry setting.
Yeah, currently on board a flying lap right now with Josh, who of course was called into the driver's press conference earlier this day, and of course we put the question to him. First of all, welcome back to One Hub. You had a taste of the league when you raced in P3 tier with an incredible victory. How do you feel about returning to the race in this league but in a higher tier, and what are your expectations for the rest of the season? Josh responding saying, hi, he is excited but also nervous for his first race here in P2. He's not sure yet where he stacks up against the other drivers, but he's excited to get tested and pushed to his limits. Holds no expectations for himself, Japan and Japan and the rest of the season. His plan is to do the best job possible in both qualifying and race, regardless of result. He will be happy, and right now, I mean, he's out there on a lap, and it's a 1:21.8 purple middle sector for the Mercedes. As he's coming up to a little bit of traffic, he's going to hope that he gets out the way sharply, as we've got a Ferrari coming through the chicane, as Josh just slightly outbrakes himself coming through the final couple of corners. And what's it going to be for Josh to the line? As provisional pole with a 41.5.
I think this is a good first lap to have, to be honest. I mean, I can understand how that he's a little bit nervous to be here in P2, because I can tell I raced here for like 2 races, and I can tell you guys, these people here, they are flying. I didn't have the slightest chance against them, and they're great racers, but also really, really fast and really hard to catch. So I can absolutely understand.
Yeah, as Mokri improves with a 140.9, so the first of the drivers into the 1 minute 40s, and of course those times are going to continue to get quicker and quicker. You see the dry line beginning to form for the intermediate tyres, and of course the more laps that are done, that dry line will become more optimal for the dry tyres towards the end of the session, but it just might not be able to get to those conditions by the end of this session. It's going to be borderline coming through the final chicane, the Casio Triangle, with Lukey right now. He's seen his teammate put on provisional pole. He's now done it to P3, but what can Lukey do as he crosses the line? He goes to provisional pole, almost getting into the 1:39s there for Lukey.
Really a second faster. Now we see the times are dropping, and I'm absolutely looking forward to the last section of the qualifying to see if some people can get some slicks on and keep the times falling.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key in it, is getting that call absolutely right, because we saw in both P4 and P3 that those that made the gamble and were correct in making the gamble benefited massively, but if the weather conditions are not optimal for it, then it could absolutely blow up in your face, as Jacob there first into the 1 minute 39s with a 39.6, as we're on board right now with the Welshman, AK Rowe, coming through the Casio Triangle now. It looks like he's on a bit of a cooldown lap though, but even on your cooldown laps, you can still find time and improve because of the track just getting quicker and quicker.
Absolutely, that's
That's
interesting.
Papa.
Now we now see. Yeah.
Sorry, Papa improving, going even quicker with a 39.5. Kinney on a lap as well, so we're still on board with Kinney. And as you were saying, mate,
I was just saying it's interesting. Obviously, now the time's falling. Yeah, nothing too important to say, but yeah, that will be. Now we're coming to the time where it really gets interesting.
yeah, absolutely. And of course, in the rivalries this week, it was, of course, Cam and Nicholas. I don't think we got a word from Nicholas on the rivalries, but we did get a word from Cam. So I will quickly look to see if Nicholas has put in. But Cam, we put the question to the pair of them. Both came to blows last week with Cam getting a time penalty. Did you manage to speak to each other after the report came out and smooth things over? And what can you both do to avoid an incident like this happening again? Cam responded saying, I mean, we spoke immediately after. There wasn't much to smooth out. I took responsibility and we moved on. Just gotta not look away from the screen anymore. So right there, obviously, Cam Gay seemed to have got a little bit distracted, and that has caused an incident. But yeah, no response from Nicholas in the rivalries, but in Cam Gay there taking full responsibility, and it looks like the track is not dry, but it's looking like there's a possibility it could dry out before the end.
The dry line is already formed. We're just waiting for the rain stopping to fall, and then we are ready to go for some really fast action.
Absolutely. Kinney did pop up in the P5 in the end. Alfredo up in the P3. Good laps from them. Lawrence up in the P7 on an invalid lap right now. So we'll see Kermit there at 38 flat. So it's showing that the track is getting quicker and quicker. We've got Nicholas 1.4 up in the middle sector. And that could be enough to put Nicholas up into P2 right now. But he's gone deep into the Casio triangle. And that is not an ideal line there for Nicholas, but he will find time as the track improves. As he comes to the line, it's going to be a 39 flat plus in P3 for now, but he knows there's more time out there.
Jacob crossed the line. He's in second position. I just looked at his stats. This guy did not finish outside of a podium this season. Is that right?
Yeah, Jacob's consistency.
Awesome.
Jacob's consistency this season has been unquestionable, and of course it shows in the championship standings with the lead he currently has. But he has had a bit of competition. Of course, Salo has been able to take a victory. Of course, we saw Kinney take a victory last time out as well. So there are drivers that are challenging Jacob. They just need to make sure that they can continue to take points off Jacob and hopefully get more drivers in between themselves and Jacob to really turn this championship around. But on board right now with Kermit, who I think's on a cooldown lap, and yes he is. Jacob 9/10 off in the first sector, as we got Nicholas, who is pushing right now as he touches the grass on the entry into Spoon, and that is going to immediately spin you out coming through Spoon curve, and that is not ideal. And it looks like potentially Cam K Mum has done something that I did earlier and has run out of fuel on his Indus.
Yeah, and we are now seeing the first soft runners, which is great. To be honest, I waited for it. All qualifying now. Yeah, now we're nearly there. We see rain still falling, but as soon as the rain is getting a little bit less.
Yeah, I mean, on the entry into the pit lane, it didn't look like there's raindrops falling for Jacob there, but we'll go on board with Camke, and yeah, it looks like the rain has stopped as we got 2.5 minutes to go. it's going to be very close to the likes of Cam K and Jacob to get themselves back out of the pits in time, because of course you want to be leaving the pits round about now to get yourself around the circuit. And now we got the soft runners coming out around the lap, and I believe the first driver is going to be Mr. Zondel.
Yeah, that's right. So he's gonna be the first one to get on the track, on the right track. Then we'll see some water, a little bit of water on the track. It's a little bit damp, but yeah, this could be a way in like half a lap. So we'll see how these soft tires will perform now.
Yeah, and of course, if you are in the pit lane right now, your chances of getting yourself out are completely evaporated. They are gone, as we got less than a minute 30 remaining in the session. So right now, Jacob is done, Nicholas is done, Cam K is done. We've got Sauber and I believe Cam K and Nicholas trying to get out, but it's too late in the session. They're not going to get out in time.
They gotta be quick.
No, there's no chance. There's no chance. Even on a bone dry track, they're not getting around quick enough.
Unfortunately not, but yeah, that's the trick. It's the trick of the game. You really gotta be exact when you start, and yeah. But now look at all the traffic.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed as well is Alexa is on a set of the intermediates. So I think Alexa is absolutely either absolutely nailed this or has absolutely come undone at the end. But let's see, as DRS is enabled, and that is not good news for Alexa. As Zondel in behind, he's going to close up to the back of Alexa over the course of this lap. Alexa's tyres are going to overheat, and they are going to be a lot slower, but Alexa could still find time. Just a bit of time, but Alexa's going to be hoping that these guys struggle on the very green circuit right now for Suzuka.
Yeah, but it sure doesn't look like it, as we see Mr. Zonto here flying over the track nearly. So he takes out second for second out of his previous times. So yeah. He, by the way, did like he had a really great timing. I think he drove over the start-finish line 2 seconds after the DRS activation was announced. So yeah, great timing on his side.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zondo right now is going to be the first one on a set of softs to cross the line. Of course, we have Alexa up ahead on the intermediate, so we'll see what Alexa can do. But we're expecting the soft runners to absolutely fly. Middle sector split. 15 flat, 7.8 seconds up on his time for Mr. Zondel. As Alexa will cross the line, we're going to see what Alexa can do as Zondel there mounts the inside curve on the entry into the Casio Triangle. It's a 34.6 for Alexa. What can Zondel do is a 33.7, and time's only going to get quicker and quicker. And there we go, 33 flat from Alfredo. As we've got more times coming in quick and fast. Going to stay on board with Kermit for the time being, coming towards the Casio Triangle.
Oh, there's Cam in the wall. Or is it a graphics bug for me?
Cam K, I think, getting out the way, as we got more times coming in with Kermit now to the line. And it's a 33 for Kermit. Not ideal for him. P10 for the McLaren. But my, oh my, things... They absolutely shot up in the end. Let's run you through the order real quick. It is, of course, Josh on the debut, taking pole position here in P2. Ahead of Kinney, who will join him on the front row. Seiko in second place, Salo in third, Seiko in third, Salo fourth, Rowe in fifth, Mokri sixth, Loki seventh, Alfredo in eighth, Papa Squanch ninth, and Kermit round out the top 10. Outside of the top 10, we have Chris, Zontel, Alexa, Rich, Jacob, Nicholas, Cam K, Lawrence, Jonas, and of course it put you in the McLaren, unfortunately. But
I'm there too. Let's go.
Yeah, but big opportunity for these guys now, with Jacob starting so far down the order.
Yeah, that's gonna be really, really interesting. We'll see how he can keep up this consistency he has showing us throughout the season.
Well, I mean, the thing is, when it comes to, of course, the nature of the circuit itself, it's a very difficult circuit to get overtakes done. I mean, you really have to kind of pressure the car in front into making a bit of a mistake, and then once they make that mistake, you can kind of take advantage of it. But there's very few overtaking opportunities. Of course, the hairpin is a key overtaking opportunity to get the move done. DRS down the start finish straight in towards turn 1, another overtaking opportunity. Of course, if you get a good launch out of Spoon, use the ERS to your advantage. Get nice and underneath that rear wing. Draw alongside as you just pass 130R. You can have a little look into the Casio triangle. And of course, a very unconventional place to go for an overtake in the Spoon curve. Of course, if you get the run out of the hairpin and you apply, of course, your ERS, you can get a run that you need to take advantage and get yourself ahead or alongside enough to contest into Spoon curve. And that is going to be an interesting one, because I think a lot of these drivers have the capability of going side by side in places where we would never.
Absolutely. Speaking of the Spoon curve corner, the thing is, going into these straights after that, or going to this straight on the start finish line, you really sometimes you have cars 9 to 10 cars which are like in one DRS train. So if you fall out of that train, good luck. That's gonna be hard to gain back into it, and that's also what it makes it hard to overtake people here, because everybody got DRS, everybody's driving behind each other. But if the rain starts falling and people going to make mistakes, and because it's the other way around now, as in qualifying, you don't know when it's wet enough to put on some inters, and you're pressured from the guy behind. Mistakes could easily creep in.
Yeah, and of course, with the weather on approximate, of course, we saw the difference in P4 and P3 earlier. Of course, in P4, the rain came a lot later, and the switch to the inters was a lot later, obviously, than what happened in P3. So there is that variable there. In terms of the strategy, of course, it's going to be an interesting one, because the mediums, ideally, you want to be boxing off your mediums around lap 7, lap 8. I'm going to say, and if you are planning to stay out until the wet comes, you're going to have to go into a set of hards, because taking another set of mediums, you're going to have to stretch out a couple of laps extra, and the undercut around here is very, very good. But before we go any further, let's run through our sponsors and partners here at One Hub Racing. Of course, our title sponsor in Delta.app. Of course, for over 18s only. Make all of your investments in one app. Make smarter decisions like the world's top investors, and track your journey to success with Delta. If you use !Delta in the Twitch chat, or click the link in the YouTube description, you'll be able to use it to track your investments. Of course, Next Level Racing, fantastic sponsors of the league, and of course, on screen right now are prices that you could potentially win here in One Hub. Of course, Next Level Racing, a long supporter of One Hub, that's for sure. Sim Racing Setups, they provide fantastic setups for all conditions. Of course, whether it's the dry or wet setups, they've got you covered. And of course, if you use the discount code One Hub Racing at the checkout, you do get a discount. I believe from earlier, I think Jess said it's gone up now to 10% on the pre-race stream, if I remember correctly. But if not, it's 5% at the standard. But I believe it might have gone up to 10. So we'll have to confirm that. But another fantastic sponsor is, of course, Pure Sim Gear. Of course, use code OHR10P at the checkout for 10% off. And of course, Vespa Twin, who sponsors our official apparel. and of course, fantastic sponsors here in One Hub, and of course to Sim Grid as well, who of course we had a look at the standings earlier. SimGrid is of course where the standings are, and without SimGrid we would be using Google Forms, and it is a nightmare using Google Forms. And of course, last but not least, our charity in the Mental Health Foundation. If you do need to talk, guys, make sure you do talk. It is very, very important to do so. Well, that is the sponsors and the partners out of the way, and of course, while we are getting the grid set up, in terms of the nature of this circuit, the only figure 8 circuit on the F1 calendar, 27 laps, 18 corners. The S's, I think, are going to be absolutely crucial for every single driver out here, because if you just mess up one of your entries into any of the curves coming through turns 3 up towards turn 7, you're going to be hemorrhaging time all the way up the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Being positioned wrong can be absolutely destroy a race. Yeah. By the way, Jacob is destined to keep his streak on. He will says overtaking will be done. We can trust him. So yeah.
Well,
I think we will have an entertaining race.
We'll have to wait and see. Of course, I do have a question though. What is your prediction for the race win and the top 3? Who are you going for your prediction?
That's a tough one, because I apart from the 2 races I spent in this league, I didn't see a lot of races, and I didn't yeah, so I don't know exactly. I would go with I would go with Jacob, because I think I want him to keep his streak. I like that.
Well, just knowing the nature of this circuit is going to be crucial for Jacob to make moves efficiently and smartly, and it can be very difficult to overtake around here, so he has to make sure that his strategy is on point and get a good strategy versus the rest of the field. Who I think will be taking the race win here tonight, I think Kinney goes back to back. I think Kinney goes back to back in race wins, and I think Josh on debut will get himself a P2 finish. Of course, he's got pole position. I think he gets himself a P2 finish. And last but not least, now this might shock everyone, I'm going Lukey for the final spot on the podium.
Oh. Okay.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I've gone Lukey for the final spot on the podium. And on top of that, the streak of the consistent podiums from our championship leader in Jacob, I think, comes to an end here tonight. It's just so many cars to overtake, and it's going to be interesting to see him try and do it, but it's going to be very difficult for him. And I think the guys at the front might be able to get the gap that they need in that time. But yeah, that's my prediction.
I would add Kenny to my podium too, for place 2, because I think he'd need it for the championship, and he also was very consistent besides the first 2 races. But after that he was really consistent. So yeah, why not? I would put Kenny on the P2.
Yeah, of course, Kenny and Jacob are obviously 2 very good shouts. Obviously, Josh, from what we've seen at Silverstone in P3, obviously it's not comparable here with racing with P2, because he's going to get challenged a lot more. He's going to be more involved in the battles, I think. But just his pace, I think he's going to be a guy to keep our eyes on towards the front. I don't think he'll get the win on his first time out, but he's already got a pole position. I think he backs it up with a podium finish. So Josh is going to be one to keep an eye out on. That is for sure. I just think Kinney, the wily fox of this tier, I think might just be able to get it done. And obviously Lukey, Mr. Experience, he is going to be a guy to keep an eye on as well.
Absolutely. I just remember how I said 50 minutes ago, yeah, I can understand if you're nervous to be in P2 or something, but I think Josh didn't have any of it. uh, brilliant, yeah, brilliant qualifying from him for a debut.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go out to the track, of course, in the pre-race interviews, we did get a couple of drivers respond as we're going to head to the grandstands now, so we don't miss a start. Questions were put out. We are approaching the halfway point of the season. How do you think the season's gone so far for the drivers out there? Jonas has put it's been a bit mixed so far. There's been glimpses of pace and mixed with a lot of mistakes. Even when races have gone reasonably well, I still make mistakes that cost me positions. Salu saying it's been up and down, some great results and some quite poor ones. Hopefully can get things together for things to settle down. Looking around now for another driver. Of course, Mr. Zondel has said it's not gone good at all so far. So Zondel not particularly happy with how his season's gone thus far, which is unfortunate. But he's shown great praise to Zondel. So I think he's got nothing to be down about. I mean, he will hope that he can get himself onto the podium more regularly, but I mean, he's definitely shown the pace for it. Chris is saying nothing special. Moved down into P2 tier for the second race. Australia was okay, but he got spun there, and Silverstone had his wing taken off, and last week he didn't race, which is unfortunate there for Chris. Kinney said not good, but not bad. So Kinney saying a little bit of a mixed season thus far. AK saying not good, joined late, so started on the back foot and has struggled to get a clean weekend together. So a lot of drivers saying that this season's been a little bit up and down thus far, and they're looking to iron out any of the mistakes that they've had in the first half of the season to get their second half of the season kick-started in the right way.
Well, I will say I think I can feel that the drivers do have a little they say yeah it's a little bit mixed up. That's true. I feel that too. um, and yeah, you can also see that like a few drivers you know these drivers they are like in 1, 2, or 3. They are pretty consistent, and the field behind, you see there are a lot of drivers who really have.
Oh, yeah,
we're starting. Let's focus on that.
Yeah, to the 5 red lights we go in P2 to get us underway here for round number 6 in Suzuka. Lights out, and we are underway. And it's a pretty
great start from Josh.
Yeah, it's a fantastic start from Josh. A laggy start for my end, unfortunately. So I do apologise. I do apologise on stream, but side-by-side action coming through turn 2 between the Aston and the Ferrari immediately for the S's, as we got side-by-side action between Salo and Seco. And fantastic there for Salo to get through us. We got Alfredo and Rowe side-by-side. Papa there just following through. Alfredo there dropping behind AK Rowe for the time being, as Jonas and Kermit and Kamke there getting tangled up with each other. Looks like Kamke's got a move done down the inside into the first deck now, which is a fantastic place to try and get an overtake done, as we got Lukey looking for a move here on Lawrence, and Lukey there ghosting through Alexa, so I'm not sure what's going on there, as Kermit is he's off onto the gravel, and Kamke's off onto the gravel as well, as we got a virtual safety car here on lap 1, and I'm hoping that the game will settle down now, and we can get some form of normality, but I do feel that I am lagging all over the place.
I feel that too, to be honest, but for me that is pretty normal. I don't have the best internet, so I didn't notice it. But yeah, interesting. The start, great start from Josh. We talked about it. I wouldn't have seen him on P1 either, to be honest. But he did it for the first lap. Yeah, and also throughout the S's, I think I saw some 3 whites, or 3 cars beneath each other, but everything was pretty clean. Unfortunately, now the yeah Cam and Kermit, I think they are now into the pits, and yeah, interesting
Well,
start. To
we
be
are
honest.
back to green flag racing once again as the virtual safety car has come to its conclusion. Looks like Seago's had a great restart, getting all up close to Salu. Same with Alfredo on row as well, coming through the second of the deck. And that's underneath the bridge. A lovely line there from Alfredo. Potentially could open the door for a possible look, but didn't want to use the battery and go for it. But he's going to take a tighter line on the exit and use the battery on
Got
the exit. But
another yellow.
yeah, another yellow in the back as it looks like Alexa and Lawrence has come together underneath the bridge. Unfortunate for them, as you got battles going on up towards the front. It looked like maybe a little bit of lag actually, possibly, as the game is literally giving me a PowerPoint presentation right now.
Yeah, that I think so too. But yeah, what you gonna do? I think we will still see a great race.
Right, I'm just going to close down everything I have open in the background, just to make sure that it can kind of get itself sorted back out. So I do apologise for that, guys. Yeah, the unfortunately, it's one of those situations where the internet is just having a bit of a nightmare right now. I don't know whether it's my internet or whether it's a connection to the game itself, but yeah, it's having a bit of a nightmare. It's gotten better, but it's like 10 to 20 FPS. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just it happens. Hopefully, it does sort itself out now. I've closed everything down in the background. As we had Papa Squanch side by side with Alfredo in the S's, and a great move there from Papa Squanch up into P6 now. Goes the Red Bull, and we are on lap 3 of 27. Josh has had a great start to his P2 career. He's currently leading the race that he's led from pole position, and he's got Kinney right now 6 times back.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, half a second, but he can pull away through this straight after the spoon, and now they're very close together. And now we'll see how they do on the start finish line. Very good exit from Josh. Good exit from Kinney. So yeah, they're having their battle. That's what I wanted to see. That's great.
Yes, we're starting to see some gaps begin to form in the field, and we're seeing some side-by-side action on the run down in towards turn number 1. Jonas getting through on Rich, Jacob getting through on Lukey, and of course, I mean, you predicted Jacob to keep the streak alive. I predicted Lukey for a podium. Both our picks at the moment down out of the points, which is not great, but a long race to go as we got Mokri trying to close up to the back of Papa, who lost the place to Alfredo with DRS, and Alfredo needs to get back within DRS range of Rowe, who is currently hustling and hounding Seago for P4.
True, and yeah, you see now the first 6 drivers are like going they have a much more gap now, much bigger gap. There we go. But yeah, they're still together, and that's what we talked about earlier when they have a little DRS train going on, and now they split into few little DRS trains. That's the thing. It's a danger if you fall out of one of them. Yeah, you will be picked up by the next one coming.
Yeah, so it looks like Chris has had a bit of a moment. He did drop down a couple of positions. I tried to go on board with him just to see what was going on, but he is bouncing around for me as we got Papa getting back through on Alfredo, back up into P6 goes the Red Bull, and Mokri not getting close enough to Alfredo this time to go for a move. Rowe has managed to get through on Seco up in the P4 now. The Welshman is going to try to charge after the top 3, but he's got an Aston Martin in tow in Seco, going to be chasing him down all the way. But the gap 2.2 seconds, and it's coming down, but it's not coming down quick enough for DRS to help out Rowe or Seco here.
Absolutely great racing, and Josh still in front. That's what I find interesting. Very consistent now in front. Half a second. Yeah. The midfield now also splitting up a little bit. So there's a yellow flag, and that's Cam.
Yep, yellow flag in the back for Cam K. Mamu appears to have lost it. Coming through the S's as I do apologise for the stuttering issues that are going on right now. Of course, according to OBS, I am streaming in 60 FPS. And I'm not dropping any frames, so I think it's just my connection on the game that is causing issues right now. So I do apologise for that, ladies and gentlemen. We'll try to make sure that we bring you the action as best as we can, but yeah, of course, things are jumping around at the moment. Hopefully they do sort themselves out.
We have another yellow flag. Nicholas went a little moment.
Easily done in the S's there. Nicholas dropping down the order. And the fuel on the car as well. And that's an interesting thing to obviously bring up, the fuel situation, because in practice sessions around here, I noticed in the dry, me personally, I use half a lap extra fuel over a course of a race distance. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys do in terms of their fuel management. I mean, for right now, I think everyone would be able to save just a little bit, obviously, in the DRS trains. And, of course, our virtual safety car that we had at the start of the race, as we get another little stutter coming through 130R for the top three. As on board with Kinney now coming down in towards the Casio triangle. Is he going to be close enough to go for the overtake? Doesn't look like it this time around, but Salo is, well, closer to Kinney than what Kinney is to Josh coming down the start finish straight. So Salo right now could be the most dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. He is not far away from the first two, and I think maybe he will just wait for
side by side. Oh, it's a brilliant and brave from Mokri, side by side with Papa. And he gets to move down. Chris trying to go all the way around the outside as well. Tried to have the inside for the next left-hander coming up through Dunlop curve, but not going to get the run that he needs. And he has to sit in behind the Red Bull. I think the Red Bull might have made a mistake somewhere, and that has cost him a position to Mokri here.
They are very, very close now. And that can be an explosive mixture here in Japan.
Yes, I'm getting lag spikes all over the place right now on F1, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm not dropping any frames on the stream, and it's still saying 60 FPS is the output, so I'm not sure. So we got yellow flags out, and that's another virtual safety car here.
So that's going to be interesting now.
Oh, actually, it's a full course safety car. As the safety car has come out on track, full course safety car here, and we're seeing everyone now diving into the pit lane, and yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with my game right now, but everything is absolutely all over the place.
Cars are going in the wrong direction. They are just driving out of the pit lane and going then back to the. I think we have some issues here, some technical issues right now.
Oh, so it's not just me having the issues. You're having them as well, you know?
No, absolutely. No, we have all the issues, I think.
Okay. I thought for a second it was just me having these stuttering issues and freezes now that was going on, but if you're having them as well, then maybe it's just a case of the lobby being a little bit laggy right now. Salo has managed to get himself ahead of the safety car somehow, and is, well, pulling away from the safety car, and of course this is going to allow him to make a pit stop, and he's actually going to come out in a pretty decent spot, I think, Salo.
He is stayed out. He didn't go into the pits, and so he's still on his old tires. And yeah, now a pit stop would make perfectly sense. He has now like 17 seconds in the back. And he has to catch the safety car. So
Of course, Salo now will dive into the pit. Zondel has left the session. Of course, him and Kermit out of this race. So I'm assuming that is what has caused the safety car conditions. Wasn't able to see what happened as I was too busy trying to fix the lag situation, but I don't think it is fixable, unfortunately, guys. But yeah, Zondel and Kermit, they're going to be heartbroken with how this race has gone. And for Salo, he comes out in P3. He's still going to come out ahead of Alfredo. So he hasn't lost a position, but he does have 1 lap fresher tyres now.
well, that could be here. It could be a very very big advantage to have this 1 lap less.
But we'll have to see. Of course, with the safety car and virtual safety car, the chances of rain coming towards the end now is definitely higher than what it would have been without the safety car and virtual. So there's probably going to be an intermediate switch late into this race, and if that is the case, Alfredo on the set of the mediums, Papa on the set of the mediums, Jonas, Alexa and Nicholas, it's going to be very difficult for them to get themselves into a good position by the time the rain comes, because the mediums are going to fall away after around 8 laps, and it's a long race and they have to take those tires quite a distance.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. This is going to be very critical how this. Okay, I now have communicating with online services. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. You have left the session.
That's
I will get you
that-
back in as quickly as I can, because
that would be great. Thank you.
we are under safety car conditions right now, so I am able to do so.
Okay.
So we will get you sorted and back into the lobby. I have just had the communicating with online services at the top. Luki has been disqualified from the session. I don't know what's going on here, but I feel that the lobby is definitely a little bit on the sketchy side at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a little bit odd, but I never had this in particular before, to be honest. But yeah, sometimes I think it's also very complex, a racing game. So yeah, it sometimes just happens, I think. All right. So I will just try to get back in and we will see.
Well, looking at what's going on in the P2 chat, Luki was saying that he was just getting loads of penalties. Not sure if that's the case, that he's just getting loads of penalties in terms of what's called just the game just awarding him penalties for no good reason, or whether he was getting them legitimately. But there definitely appears to be something going on. Nicholas said what's going on. He was allowed to pit after waiting almost 200 seconds. So, yeah, Nicholas has been. Oh, Kinney's been disqualified for ignoring the yellow flags. Chris has got a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Chris, drive
And
through.
everyone
Chris,
else is...
Chris getting another 10-second.
Oh, I saw that. Everyone else is switching lanes pretty fast.
I am not sure what is going on right now, but it is definitely not looking good right now.
This is hilarious. This is yeah, this is a race of another kind. Yeah.
Oh, Chris has actually got himself ahead of the
Yes.
the safety car. So maybe.
Think.
Oh, migrating host. Lukey has left the session. The migrating host.
So I think yeah, Nicholas were down a lap, by the way.
Are you still in the race?
I am. Yeah, I joined back.
I have.
No, I have a black screen.
Yes, I do have a black screen. Guys, right now we're not sure what's going on. It's been a bit of a buggy race right there. We're not too sure what the plan is regarding this. Gonna quickly see what the decision's gonna be in the chat. I'm still currently on a black screen, so I might actually have to completely close the game down and then reload it.
I think I gotta do that also. Yeah, but it won't close.
No, it won't close for me. Oh, there we go. It is
Thank
finally
God there's
closed.
a task manager.
Okay, right, we have got the game closed down. Again, we have to apologize to you guys, the viewers. This is not what it's not what we want. Obviously, we do hope that all racing is ran as smooth as possible. Unfortunately, sometimes these kind of lobbies do happen, and it is very unfortunate when it does happen because it does ruin what could be a very good race. Of course, from what we have told, been told is it will be a restart. It will be 35% race to the end. So basically, it's been red flagged, and we'll be going back to green flag racing in a new lobby. Fortunately.
Yeah, basically we had a red flag, guys. Nothing to see here. Alright, yeah, so based on what we saw, let's have a quick chat. Would you change your mind?
Ooh.
Based on what we saw in racing?
I mean, I the only thing I would change is maybe putting Salu up on the podium instead of Lukey.
Yeah. Absolutely. Salah was my pick too. Yeah, because he was in P3. He was sitting pretty good there, waiting for the first two starting to fight. I think he had a great chance, and I would take I would continue my gamble with Jacob's comeback, but I would definitely also get Josh into P2 now, because I think he's pretty. He drove pretty good, pretty consistent, and did he make any mistakes, by the way?
I mean, from what we've seen so far, Josh has had a fantastic start to this race, a fantastic start to his P2 career. Kinney is right there with him, as is Salo, so it's a lovely little three-way battle that we had for the race lead. Unfortunately, that they'll be bugged out, but I can only imagine that it's going to be very similar once we get going again. There's going to be a bit of a gap build. But of course, with it being a 35% race now, it's going to be even more interesting as these guys are going to be pushed a little bit quicker to get themselves going. But of course, the one thing that they'll have now, which might not be a good thing, is that little breather. Because for me, when you have that little bit of a break, it can knock you out of a rhythm. And around a circuit like this, rhythm is key. If you are out of the rhythm, you are all over the place around a track like this.
Absolutely. I mean, you really have to, like, in my opinion, the first sector with the S's, you really have to feel like, where do I position the car to drive as quickly as possible through these corners? And if you don't have the rhythm, like, or I would call it muscle memory, if you don't have it, you know, you feel that you bump the car out, you spin out, and yeah, that what's now the danger of this, that people getting out of their rhythm, or their muscle memory, or whatever you want to call it, and yeah, we will see who can, like, deal the best with it. No.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. So obviously, all the drivers here in P2 are very experienced. They are very quick, and they are like top tier drivers, and that they know what they're doing. But obviously, once you have that little break, it might take you a lap and a half to settle yourself back down into the race conditions. So that could be the issue for like someone like a Salu, for example, a Josh, or a Kinney at the front. Just having that lap and a half where you're not trying to get yourself back into the rhythm, but you're not quite there yet. That potentially could obviously cost you a position to the guys behind, but it could cost you being in that front train still.
Yeah, absolutely, and that could open the door for a lot of other drivers who are just waiting for an opportunity. So it's gonna be really, really interesting to see now who can have a good start and who can't.
Absolutely, it's going to be very intriguing to see who is going to have the start. Of course, I need to know what lap we are taking the race from. I do believe, like, obviously, a couple of the disqualifications and the DNS, and now, of course, we're down to the game just being buggy, but I'm not 100% sure. We have been told that it is still a 2-stop race, so we will see. Of course, this does mean though that maybe we'll see some drivers put on a set of the softs and the mediums instead of going medium hards.
Yeah, absolutely. We now have a little bit of time removed, and now you can experiment with this strategy. You can absolutely go for a softer tire. I think what how long do they hold up? Maybe like 3 or 4 laps with a good grip.
Yeah, I think soft tires, they degrade quite quick. I think you're already on like 40%, around 5 laps into the stint on a set of the soft tires, so they do degrade quite quick. But it's one of those tires where if you can get a good launch, get a good start, get yourself into rhythm nice and quickly, you can take advantage of those soft tires, pull yourself ahead of the field, then make that pit stop, or you just maybe start on the set of the mediums, then go softs, so you're on the quicker tire before the rain comes. It's going to be an interesting one, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really now have to have in mind that you're gonna race the last rounds of the race not on any slick tire. So yeah, what are people gonna do, and how are they planning their strategies now? I would really love to hear that. I would like to join some calls right now, some team calls, and just yeah, listen to that what they are saying now. But unfortunately, we can't do that for obvious reasons. We can't leak strategies live, but I would love to hear that anyway.
I'll tell you what, the closest I've ever been to something like that was one time when I commentated and raced at the same time, and that was an
Oh, that
interesting
sounds
one.
interesting.
It was an interesting one.
So how did you commentate? Did you commentate yourself then?
I was like down in the pit wall, like I was letting everyone know what was going on track. Like I was letting the people know at home. The grip is gone. The grip is there. The grip is gone. The grip is there.
Yeah, that's also pretty cool. Some commentating. I would sometimes I'd love to hear that. When people are driving and what goes through their head right now, and in different situations, some special situations, what goes through their head. What are they thinking right now? Would really love to join some calls, but you can't do it. You're distracting people or leaking information.
I mean, I'm not sure about everyone else, but music just seems to go through my head, and I like I'll be driving along and randomly I'll just be like like doing the Crazy Frog Axel F song, like do like just be going along and a random song will come into my head, Venga
Uh,
Boys, the Venga Buses come in and everything like that, like I'll go
the,
full
the
club
whole
land.
race.
Yep, the whole race.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what you mean. Yeah. Sometimes I play real music just to distract my head from the music in my head. So I'm not concentrating on that too much. So yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely know what you mean.
Well, we are getting ready to go underway once again. We are readied up in the lobby. The one thing I am going to remind all the drivers right now, remember your setups. Remember them. Don't forget your setups, because it's going to be a nightmare if you guys do forget your setups. So please remember your setups.
Absolutely. I didn't remember it once, and you don't want that. Yeah.
Also, I do believe, due to time refrains, it is a 25% race rather than a 35% race. So 13 laps for the drivers. It's going to be very interesting. Of course, it is supposed to rain at the end, but will this now affect the weather conditions? That's the big question.
Yeah, that will be very interesting right now because uh I mean 13 laps, and do we also have mandatory two stop?
I will
Is that
quickly
so mandatory?
double check, because I know everyone did make at least one pit stop. If they will be able to one stop
That's right.
in this race, so we'll have to quickly have
I
a
will
look.
I will read some chats here, some posts in the chat room. Mox was away and asked what happened. Yeah, the server, uh, not even the server. I think the game had a little
Okay.
hiccup.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we do have the order. We do have the order. Jess has given us the order 25% race. It is still a mandatory two stop. Uh,
Okay.
but we will have Josh on pole with Canadian second, Salu third, Rowan fourth, Seco fifth, Alfredo sixth, Mokri seventh, Papa Squanch eighth, Chris in ninth, Jacob rounding out the top 10, Zontal in 11th, Jonas in 12th, Lukey 13th, Rich in 14th, Nicholas 15th, Lawrence in 16th, 17th is Alexa, Kermit in 18th, and of course Cam K in 19th place.
That sounds good. Sounds a little bit, yeah, also for some people maybe it's like a second chance. So everything is like set back to 0, and you can start all over with a new strategy. Maybe that will be helpful to somebody.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. I would like a confirmation in the chat. Obviously, the tires that they start on now, does this count as one of the mandatory two stop tires, or do they still have to make the two stops during the race? If someone can quickly let me know in chat, if any of the admins are here. If not, then I have just seen raindrops keep falling on my head. Raindrops are falling.
Yeah, I see the same. I see the same. Raindrops are falling. And yeah, maybe this is going to be very interesting now because
Well,
we have a race start.
yep, here we go to those 5 red lights to get underway here. 13 laps to go, and we are back racing once again here in P2 as it's still looking a little bit buggy on my end. Hopefully, P1 is a lot smoother than this, but right now, Josh getting a good start as we got Kinney and Salu Rowe getting off the line good. Alfredo, Papa Squanch, everyone has got through the first opening laps. Very, very cool and calm. But what we saw was raindrops in the pit lane. So I don't think we're too far away from the first raindrops here on track.
Absolutely not, and um, I'm looking forward to that because that's now gonna be. Now we will see who adapts the strategy. And yeah, let's see. I'm absolutely hyped for the last section of this race.
Well, here's the thing, right? If I'm these drivers right now, obviously we're still going to make the mandatory two stop. It's Alexa and Rich having a battle in the background. We're currently on board with Alfredo looking at the back of Seco. If I'm any of these drivers, I'm coming into the pits immediately and putting on a set of the mediums or another set of softs and going to the rain as again the lagging issues are happening. I think it is an issue with I think it is a EA server issue at this moment in time. We're going to stay on board with the drivers because it seems to be less laggy on board than looking at the broadcast cam. So we'll stay on board with the drivers and for the time being as Jacob in P10 getting right underneath that rear wing of Chris here.
I'm seeing more drops falling. More and more raindrops. We're now getting there.
Yep, the raindrops are falling and Rich and Cam have come into the pits, so they have heard what I've said and thought, Mike knows this strategy. And they have come into the pits and they put on a fresh set of dry tyres, meaning that when the rain comes, they can just go straight on the index to the end of the race.
They only have then one stop to go, and it's a pretty good strategy. I gotta give that to you. That's pretty good because they now have a little bit more flexibility also, I think, to stop then when the rain is really hits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Seco getting a bit of a run on Alfredo here, but again, more issues in the lobby. Hopefully this is all sorted out before P1 gets underway. Of course, Jess and Jamie taking you through the action in P1 in a few moments' time after the conclusion of P2. DRS is enabled, and of course, with DRS, here comes Seco on Alfredo. Job done. Down the inside, as clean as you like.
Yeah. Interestingly, fun fact: the first 12 drivers are they were all in a DRS train. Now Seco broke that, unfortunately, but okay.
Yeah, Seco trying to get back onto the DRS range of Rowe up ahead, who's lost DRS range to Salu out in front. Yeah, Salu and the top three doing like they done in the first race, where they have pulled away from the rest of the field. Jacob currently in P10. This is a big points haul for Kinney and Salu on Jacob at this current moment in time.
I don't see the times anymore. Oh, wait a minute. I will just load it one more time, and there we go. Okay. So, who profited so far? It's Papa Squanch who got up one place. Moki lost one place. Luki gained one. Nicholas gained two. Alexa gained two. And Jonas, he lost to the most unfortunate driver of the restart was Rich. He was Rich in the pits.
I mean, we are seeing more pit stops begin to happen now as the drivers are into the pits. It looks like a double stack for the Alpines. That is not good for Jacob because he's going to get held in the pits and held up even more. So he's going to drop down the order, I think, just a little bit further than what he would have liked. And Jacob potentially on the back foot now in this race as I think everyone needs to come in at the end of this lap at least. Make sure they get one of these stops out the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, it's going to be really, really narrow. I mean, you can go next lap, but the window is closing more and more. That's absolutely true. You're getting less flexible with your strategy there.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the last thing these drivers want is to not make a two-stop, and of course get the race disqualified. Which obviously can happen if they do not adhere to the mandatory two-stop. As Josh still leads the way. Is he going to dive into the pits? Will Kinney dive in as well? Let us see as we come through the final corner. No, they both stay out. Salu stays out as well. Rowe is in. Seiko stays out. Papa stays out. Mowgli stays out. Oh, Papa sends one down the inside of Seiko in towards turn 1 and he carries it through turn 2. Fantastic between the pair of them. Seiko giving Papa all the room in the world on the inside and able to hold on to that position. Seiko doing a fantastic job there in maintaining P4 in this race. And it's going to be interesting now as you see Alfredo has managed to get the jump on Rowe, and of course the undercut around here is around 2 seconds as I'm looking at Alfredo's car right now on board from Rowe, and he has no wheels.
Oh, that is unfortunate. But we still can drive. Let's see if I no, I see his wheels, but I see that you don't.
Yes, the wheels are gone. It is now a boat. It is now a boat just before the rain begins to fall. But
he started transforming it to a boat. It's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Alpines are transformers. Confirmed. As we have the top three now. Will any of them dive into the pits? Yes, all three are now into the pit lane.
Interesting. They all stay out and they all go in. I think everybody is now orientating where the leader is going. And Papa Squanch takes out the board.
Sorry then, Nicholas getting all out of shape coming through the final corner as we're on board with the Alpine with no wheels. Coming through the final corner now. Let's see what happens here as intermediate tyres on the cars for these guys, as it looks like Alfredo's going to get ahead of Salu, and that is big for Alfredo here, because right now I'd say the dry tyres are probably the better tyre to be on.
Absolutely, and Nicholas stayed out and he's now in the lead. And he's building a gap. Absolutely crazy.
And Josh is on the set in the mediums as well. So Josh has gone for the mediums. He's going for the 2 sets of dries and the set of the inters, which might be the better choice right now. As you're seeing Kinney and Salu just losing hand over fist right now. You've got Seiko on fresh softs on the back of Papa Squanch on fresh inters. And it's going to be very interesting when these guys make their second pit stop here.
Absolutely. We will now see. They also have to look after their tires. I mean, the Inters they're running hot, faster than the slicks, and now you gotta watch out after that. So if the rain keeps going like this, there's no problem. But yeah, we never know.
Well, a quick reminder of the pit stops that have occurred so far. The only one that has yet to make a pit stop is Nicholas in the race lead. So Nicholas is the only one that hasn't made a pit stop. Rowe and Rich have buried the mandatory 2 stops now. As you got Alexa dropping down the order, which is unfortunate there. Jacob's into the pits as well. So Jacob going for that 2 stop now, as we are seeing the Williams of Kinney battling it out with Alfredo, and hopefully when Alfredo comes into the pits, it is going to allow a set of tyres to appear on that Alpine. It is a yellow flag conditions right now. I'm not seeing a safety car yet, so it's looking like a virtual safety car.
I think no. Alexa lost only an end plate in the gravel, I think.
Oh, Rich with a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. As I think we had Mokri there getting out of shape, and now he's under pressure from Zondo in behind, and not ideal for Mokri or for Zondo right now, having Mokri making that mistake in front of him. So Zondo is going to try to get through on Mokri as soon as possible.
Mr. Zonto also missing an end plate. His left end plate. Do you see that too? Can you confirm that?
Mr. Zondo. Yes, he is missing his front left end plate right there. The Williams is wounded, but fortunately he will be able to make another pit stop. So we will see what happens there. Nicholas is into the pits, as is Josh, as is Alfredo, and obviously Salo and Kinney continue on the intermediates. So this is where things are going to get very interesting. Of course, the Mercedes quite far down the pit lane, shouldn't get held up by anyone. Set of intermediate tyres going on, and
strategy completed.
Yeah, the mandatory 2 stop is now completed for Josh. Kinney and Salo now have Papa Squanch for company, who is now in this train. Jacob has got himself, let's have a look at the stops. He's in a net P3 right now of those that have made a mandatory 2 stop.
That's true.
DRS disabled.
That's DRS disabled, so we're now under full wet conditions. And that's 5 laps to go. I mean, yeah, that's interesting how Jacob fought his way back up here in the top 3, now net top 3 to be honest. Let's see how you can deal with that.
Well, right now, Kinney, Salo, Papa, I think they all need to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Make sure that they do their mandatory 2 stops, but they continued on. Papa's in, so Papa obviously adhering to the mandatory 2 stops. He goes in as well. Nicholas has done 1 stop. Kamke, I think, will be into the pits as well. Kamke causing an absolute train in the back, as Kamke is now in the pit lane, releasing Josh and Rowe and Jacob. So now is all going to be about the pit stop for the guys out in front. Kinney and Salo, they do need to make sure they do pit a second time.
Absolutely. I mean, now they are in front, but they are losing the time now due to the not optimal tire. So you will see how long they can hold it up. And as longer as they now do it, the yeah, the closer like Josh
Oh, there's the gap, ladies and
can
gentlemen. The gap
yeah.
between Josh and Kinney is 17.1 seconds. The gap between Rowe and Kinney, 19.9 seconds. And obviously the pit lane loss around here is around about 22 seconds, I'm going to say. I might be slightly off on that one, but obviously the fresher tyres will allow them to really push as these guys that are on the Inters right now. Obviously it's just gone to the full Inter period as Kinney is now in, Salo carries on. Their tyres would be a little bit overheated, so let's see. Right, we got Kinney in the pits. Let's see where he comes out relative to the likes of Jacob and Josh and the like in behind us. Look at that, Lukey and Jacob getting through on Rowe, and there goes Alfredo too. Kinney is coming out of the pit lane exit now. Is he going to be ahead of his championship rival? No, he's not. He's going to be behind. So Kinney is going to come out all the way down in P9 as Lukey and Jacob there. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, and Lukey goes off track.
We're gonna fight now for net points, and Rich is disqualified. So it's only a drive.
Yeah, he received a drive-through penalty and under the virtual safety car, so he has been disqualified from the session. Hopefully that does not trigger any virtual or full course safety cars, because right now I think we are coming towards the end where that is possible, but it is still possible at this point, which is what I think Salo is probably hoping for right now.
Yeah, we would help him. Also, he is in a very confident lead right now, but he has to stop one time. And yeah, 11 seconds for, let's say to Josh, 14 seconds, 15 is...
And there's Salo in the pits.
Not enough.
Yeah, Salo is going to come out behind Seco, I'm going to say. So this race has gone absolutely horrid for those guys that were doing fantastic in the race before the restart, in of course Kinney and Salo. As Josh has he's managed to do the strategy absolutely spot on. He done double dry tyres to the set of the Inters. Jacob and Lukey, as well as a lot of other guys, pitted very early in the race, gone on to another set of dries and then pitted for the Inters, and you can see how much it's benefited them.
Interesting. Josh just, he just.
Actually, Salo's managed to come out in P5. So Kinney's had a very slow stop because Salo has managed to come out in a very good spot right now, where Salo's essentially in a net P4 because Nicholas still needs to pit a second time.
Yeah.
And with Jacob and Lukey right in front of Salo, the possibility of a P2 finish is on the cards now for the Ferrari.
That would be some really good points for this championship too, to be honest. And yeah, Jacob going to finish on another podium. So he is keeping his promise, doing all the overtakes. Yeah. Great job. To be honest, Josh, for example, he was brilliant in both races now. The first one and the second one, which is just amazing, to be honest. But there were a lot of other drivers today who show that if you don't give up, you really can achieve something, like Jacob or Luque.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny how obviously in the last race, in terms of like the predictions, we said which two that we would like to change. We said that we'd like to change Lukey and Jacob respectively for Salo, yeah. And now Lukey and Jacob are both in podium positions.
Yeah, absolutely. We had them on our cars, and then we just wrote them off. And now they're yeah. I would say they are punishing us for that. I think they heard what we said. They are showing us that sometimes we don't know everything.
I think both Kinney and Salu will look back at this race and think, why did we go onto the inters and not the dries initially? Because I think that's
Yeah.
what's cost them. I think that's what's cost them, because obviously their first pit stop, they went onto a set of inters. Obviously Jacob, Lukey and Josh all went dry tyres, and I think that is what's cost them the podium share. But of course Salu's still in a position where he could potentially get a podium if he can capitalise on any mistakes up ahead. Of course, Jacob Lukey right now driving fantastically as we're about to come onto the final lap of the race. Josh is in the lead, 4.3 second the gap. He's absolutely nailed the strategy in this 25% race. Jacob and Lukey have also nailed the strategy. They got themselves up into a podium position from being, I believe both of them were down towards the tail end of the points. They got themselves into podium positions. Salu has done well to get himself back into P4. I think the one mistake would have been going on to that second set of intermediates, but Salu still has a possibility of a podium here. Final lap of the race now. Can Salu get himself a podium?
We will see, but he's nearly a second away. I think if Luffy drives this to the end, there will be no problem for Solo. But you never know. You never know if anything can happen. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. How it shows one more that as Nicholas retires, how
I think that's on track as well. I think that's on track. That is not a good day from Nicholas. You're not allowed to retire on track. If you are going to retire, come to the pit lane.
He stands in the gravel.
Yeah, so we're going to go on board with Josh, as Josh has done a fantastic race and he's absolutely performed in all sessions. In the qualifying session, he put it on pole position. In the first race, he was leading throughout the entirety, and then of course in this restart, he has done a fantastic job in holding on to that race win, and he's going to take victory here in Suzuka on debut here in P2. Jacob is going to come through to retain his podium record in P2. Lukey gets himself a podium in P3. Salo P4. Rowe in P5 just ahead of Papa Squanch. Alfredo in P7. Kinney, what could have been for him, down in P8. Lawrence P9. Chris in 10th. Seco 11th, and Jonas rounding out the final point paying position. Fastest lap of the race goes away of Josh in the race victory. So he's actually done a Grand Slam race win, fastest lap and pole position. Outside of the top 10, Mokwi has got the fastest lap.
Absolutely brilliant race. I mean, it was chaotic, but I think it was brilliant.
And of course, because we are rushed for time, Roscoe, we're going to have to quickly run through the order and then get our driver of the day so that P1 can get themselves underway ASAP. So bear with us, guys, as we run you through the order once again, and then of course we'll do our driver of the days and then wrap up so we can get P1 going as soon as possible.
You got the black screen again.
Right, let's see if we will get on to the final results, and yet there we go. So it's Josh with the race win, fastest lap and pole position, with Jacob in second place, Lukey complete in the podium, Salo in P4, Rowe in P5, Papa Squanch P6, Alfredo P7, Kinney in P8, Lawrence P9, Chris rounding out the top 10, Seco in 11th, and Jonas collecting that final points paying position in P12. Outside of the points is Zondal, Kamke, Mokwi, Alexa, and then of course our non-finishers were of course Nicholas and Rich, and of course Mokwi did get the fast lap outside of the top 10. And now let us quickly do our driver of the days, and the question we would like to ask him For me personally, I'm gonna let you go first and give you the free reign
Yeah.
to pick your driver of the
Uh,
day.
I would take the guy I wrote off earlier, Jacob, who had a really great race, a really great comeback. Yeah, great comeback drive. My question is, how did you manage to come back from that, from your starting position to a podium, a P2, and yeah, how did you manage that?
Okay, fantastic stuff. And my driver of the day vote is going to go to Josh. And my question to him is a fantastic result on debut. It seemed like you just had the pace around here throughout. Was there any points during the race where you felt under pressure from the cars in behind? And do you think you can continue this momentum on into the second half of the season? Right, that is my driver of the day question. So before we head off again, massive thank you to our sponsors and partners here at One Hub in Delta.app. Of course, Next Level Racing, Sim Racing Setups, Pure Sim Gear, Vespa Twin, of course, Sim Grid, and our charity, the Mental Health Foundation. Guys, we are going to wrap things up here tonight. Of course, it is a break week. Next week, we will be back for Bahrain round number 7 in a fortnight's time. But until then, guys, we're going to wrap things up and send you over to the guys in P1. So thank you all for tuning in, and goodbye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.